Okay, we are live again and live in color, like we always are
We're
on
back.
Saturdays. That's right.
We're back.
That's right. Saturday, Saturday. Mm, yeah,
Saturday.
Saturday.
We need to get a guitar in here.
Oh yeah,
Guitar and a drum set. Then we'll just play the whole life.
we could do that. If you guys are sticking around for the next like 3 or 4 months, we'll probably be in a different space. We might could jam out. I know we brought some stuff up today. Let me see if I can pull these back up. I was really kind of excited some of the talking points.
We do
that I
have
saw.
some things to talk about. I wanted to grab this link here. Hold on.
Please
Copy
hold.
link.
Please hold.
We're going to make a post real quick.
Yeah.
Make a post real quick, and then we'll get into it.
Yeah.
New visitor.
That's not
New
what I want.
visitor.
No, not you. Post. Here we go.
Post. Oh yeah. Are you posting on
YouTube right now.
the YouTubes? Oh, I could do. We do have an X.
Yeah, do it on
so
X.
I don't know if anybody joins us on X, but we do have an X. I don't dislike X. Fix my Oculus. Fix my Oculus.
Let's see, and then we'll
Can we share? We can share. Share. Copy link. Oh, I can actually share a text. That's kind of cool. Actually, let's do this. I'm gonna change. Hey, what's Bill Cipher? What's up? What's going on, man? How's it going? What's happening? Bill, what do you got for us on the VR front? Anything?
I just wanted to post this real quick. It's never quick, is it?
No, it's never quick. It's never quick. But anyways, MetaConnect's coming up. I think we were looking online and trying to find out the date. I'm sorry, no, the time that it was supposed to come or start.
Yeah.
We couldn't find the time, so
It starts on the 25th
yeah.
of September.
Yep.
Earth,
So
Wind, and Fire.
We just put. Yeah. We just kind of guessed.
I'd play that, but we'd get copyright stricken. Copyright
Yep.
stricken? Copyrighted? Copyright stricken. There'd be a copyright strike.
That's
New
right.
visitor.
Oh, we have a new visitor on the website.
Bill's like last time another or something. Something said for you to try Gorilla. Did you try Gorilla Tag?
I've not tried Gorilla Tag.
Did
I
you
think
tell
it's
him
going to
you
be
were
a
gonna try
special
Gorilla Tag?
thing. I've had some thoughts about this because
Yeah.
we've had some requests for like a special Gorilla Tag custom headset.
Yeah.
And so I think I want to do a special Gorilla Tag custom headset, and I'll wear that during my first Gorilla Tag experience, and then we'll give that away. I think that'll be a
Yeah.
great like November December giveaway. So maybe that'll be a good Quest 3S or Quest 3 giveaway, because there's going to be a mid-range
Yep.
budget headset option that comes out here in like a day or two. Not a
That's-
day or two. In 17 days,
Days.
19 hours,
Yep.
2 minutes, and 12 seconds. I didn't want to talk to you about this though. Actually, is
Yeah.
like the content that we're creating. I made a note here because I started talking to you about it before we got on here,
Yeah.
and there's like I have this yearning desire to create better VR related content, but not like the tutorial stuff that we've been doing. I think that that's a good basis for what we do.
Sure. Yeah.
But I'm really intrigued presently. My own like rabbit hole style of research has really taken me down the vein of the history of VR and where that came from and why it is the way that it is and where it's going. Because for as long as we've been in the VR space, I still feel like I don't really know anything about it. Like there are people who
Right.
know more about Quentin Tarantino movies on the internet than I know about virtual reality, and I do this for a living. And it startles me sometimes that I'm still learning things for the first time. Kieran and I were at the computer the other day because we were talking to somebody about parts availability and why we don't repair this headset, because there are some headsets that there's, for one reason or another, maybe there's only a few hundred of them out there or only a few thousand of them out there. I remember there's one time, like a couple of years ago, we got a Bluebird VR. You remember that?
Oh yeah, the Bluebird.
The blue
I think I can pull it up.
Burr VR.
Let's give it a shot.
Bluebird
VR.
VR. Bluebird VR.
Images.
Yeah. Retails for $500. That's got to be old.
Nobody's ever seen
Discontinued. Announced June 28th, 2016. Released November 18th, 2016. Retailed for $530 back in the day. So that would have been on par with like a Vive back in the day, right?
So there's a Series 1 and Series 2, it looks like.
They were made by 3glasses.com. Oh, I can't go to that website. Your connection is not private. Oh, gosh. Not valid certificates. So something's going on with their website.
What's up, CCDAR Jade Wools?
There he is. James is here too. But anyway, like 2 years ago, we got one of these Bluebird VRs in, and I've not seen one since. I imagine that they were probably around at some point, but discontinued very quickly. I mean, they released November 18th, 2016. I can't see when it was discontinued.
Oh,
but
let's see if we can find out.
Discontinued.
Maybe I should spell discontinued correctly.
VR.
I said discounted.
Discounted. It's an easy mistake to make. PCVR from 2016.
Did you get it?
No, I don't. I got a Reddit thread, everybody talking about what a terrible VR headset it is.
It wasn't great.
We got it from a commercial client. Somebody had sent it in to us because they use them for there's some sort of arcade machine, kind of like the Kong machines that you see at Dave & Buster's. Mm-hmm. There's some machine out there that uses the Bluebird VR for their proprietary headset. I'm sure that those have all been transferred since, or the arcade machine itself was discontinued.
Yeah.
But they're irreparable because there's not that many of them out there. Like, how would you get the parts? How would you even reach out to the company to get the parts or to get the schematics? There's not enough of them to take apart and understand the schematics,
right.
Versus like the Quest 2, there's over 20 million of those units just in the ether, So anybody with a tool set could go get 2 or 3 of them and take those apart for fun and figure out kind of what's going on and get the basic idea of it. I don't know that you'd be a pro at it, but you'd be able to cobble something together if you bought 2 broken ones, because there's just so many out there, and because there's so many out there, they're just affordable, they're available. Anyway, we're having this whole conversation, and sorry, I'm going to get around to my point here, but it was just it was a revelation to me as to how little I know about some of these aspects of the virtual spaces. Mm-hmm. That like 2013, we had was it 2013, 2012, we had the DK1. I think it was 2013 we had the DK1, and you saw some influencers, you had the what was his name? PewDiePie. And you had a handful of guys that got the DK1 and experimented with it, and then you had the DK2, the Oculus.
Yep.
I guess both of them were Oculus, but those kind of set the standard for what a VR headset has become today, with the visual elements of it and the way that the screens work and everything. Everything has happened since then, but there's so many tiny little plot holes and things that go into that story, that narrative that's been created over the last 11 years of where did HTC go and why aren't they around anymore? I mean, well, they kind of produced this, but why aren't their headsets more popular? And what happened with the Vive Pro 2, and why didn't that take the market by storm? And what happened to the Deckard? What happened to the next Steam VR headset? Like, we never got the Valve Index 2. And I remember Preston and I running, because back in the day, 2020, 2021, when the Valve Index was at its peak popularity and everybody was just raving about it, that was the rage. Is okay, when's the Valve Index 2 going to come out? And we spent hours, days probably collectively looking for things about the Valve Index 2 so that we could buy them when they came out and put them in our arcade because we loved the first Valve Index. And the Knuckles, specifically with the hand tracking, it was such a revelation of like, oh, this is something that's possible. Well, because you think like you go back to the DK1 and the DK2 or the Quest Go, they didn't have controllers really. I mean, the Quest Go has a controller, but it's like a remote, like it's like a Roku remote. It's so primitive, and it's not for, it doesn't track. Do we have one?
I was thinking we had one, but we don't for the Quest Go.
For the Quest Go, we've got one running around somewhere.
Yeah, they're around here somewhere.
But then I've got Knuckles controllers in that compartment right there.
In this one here?
Yeah. And then,
let's see.
If it's not that one, it's the one right below it.
Oh, yeah. Here we go.
And so then Valve comes out with this thing, and it's like, oh my gosh, this can track my hand movements, and I can play Blade and Sorcery. Oh, this one's got buttons.
Yeah.
So that one's been stripped for parts.
Down.
But this one's actually, like when this came out, you're just like, oh, you could touch things, and I could play Blade and Sorcery, and I could reach out and choke somebody, and it would like sense my hand, and I could force grab something, and that was just the coolest thing in the world. And then Meta came out, was like, I'll bet we can just do hand tracking with the frickin' cameras. I don't know if we don't even need special sensors. And it almost seemed like that revelation in technology just deflated what Valve was. Like that's what they had going for them.
Yep.
They had the PC VR thing, and the resolution was good, and the field of vision was good, but mostly they had this, and this was their thing. And then when Meta was like, oh, we could just do hand tracking with cameras, Steam just quit? They just threw up a flag?
That was the coolest thing, though. At the time when that released, that was the coolest controllers that you could. Everybody wanted to use that.
Yeah.
Even with the HTC Vive Pros or the HTC, they wanted to use the Knuckles for all the experiences they had because of the hand tracking option.
We had people, yes, that's right. And there were some games, Blade and Sorcery was one, but there was a handful of them. Boneworks was one that really took advantage of it. Zero Caliber was one that we had in the arcade that really took advantage of it.
Yep.
I'm trying to think, because there wasn't that many climbing games, but there was a lot of games that used it for the different weaponry. If I was reloading something and I could really articulate my fingers, or the swordplay stuff. I remember Gorn, I feel like, was really good for it as well. And we broke a couple of them with customers playing Gorn.
That's
but
right.
People would come into the arcade and they would beg for the Valve Index controllers. Like we had to keep them behind because we didn't have that many of them, and they're fragile compared to the HTC controllers, which were basically like, they were very simple devices. They were like Roku remotes, but encased in like motorcycle helmet plastic. If anybody remembers the HTC Vive controllers, I don't have one of those right in front of me. We need to get one of everything. I need like one
to show?
Vive
Oh,
Pro.
yeah,
One,
that's a good
I know
idea.
we've got some in those boxes up there. But those Vive controllers, one of the reasons we liked those so much for the arcade was we could repair those on the fly. Like if somebody broke the head off of one of those, because the head unit was this different. It was, the head unit was the IR emitter portion, and then it had two ribbons that connected down to the board, but the board was encased and protected in the handle, like a long way down. And the way that those latches were designed, even if that thing was totally detached, it still didn't damage the board. So you could take the board out, take the head thing, and then just screw everything back together.
Yep.
And we got to where we could fix those controllers in like less than 10 minutes because they were just, they were breaking all the time. I say all the time. They were the most durable controllers that we had available to us anyway.
Oh, yeah. Well, here's something that I don't know if like with your knowledge on, or maybe whoever's listening, with your knowledge is on the HTC Vive controllers, is that they had the HTC Vive and then they had the HTC Vive Pro, which had the different sensors for the IR or the version
The base
2.
stations.
Yeah, base stations. And so that worked, but you could actually interchange the shells. So if the blue shell got damaged, you could actually replace it with the
Swap it in with the black shell.
with the black shell, which saved us so many times because we had so many of the black shells from so many repairs that we've done before, and so we just kind of interchanged them. Actually worked.
It
really
was
well.
the same way with the Vive Pro and the Vive Pro 2. Is with
Oh, yeah.
there was very few limitations on parts that we could swap in and out with the Vive Pro and the Vive Pro 2, because obviously the lenses were different and the screens were different, and it had one additional like board component that made it incompatible, but the whole IR emitter array was the same. And then the cameras were on the front were the same. The microphone was the same. The head strap was the same. The earphones were the same. Hello, I was fixing my LCD. Sorry, I'm not paying attention to the chat, guys. We want content on AI and Elon Musk. Ha ha ha. People talk about. I want to address this actually real quick. Just quick talking point because I think this will make a good clip. But the AI thing. People talk about AI with use in today's world and ChatGPT and generating images and photos and stuff. But what people don't understand is that, like, even prior to the big media wave that came behind ChatGPT, I feel like I'm talking to you and I probably should be talking over here. But even before that, Meta, I feel like, has had such a hand in AI and how AI has progressed because of the way that they've had to use AI, predictive AI.
Oh, sure.
For things like the tracking and for even things like advertising. You know, how much AI goes into Meta's algorithms and advertising and pixel data to generate what is basically a big advertising platform. People, I think, ask all the time, not all the time, probably once or twice a month, I'll get a question about the cost of the Quest 2 and why it's so cheap, it's such a cheap unit and blah, 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 blah. It's like, it's really not a cheap unit. It's actually a pretty pricey unit. Most of what you pay for on the Quest 2, and I assume the Quest 3 as well, is the processor. It's the Snapdragon chip. If you were to buy one of those processors from China right now, it would probably set you back about $200, maybe $250. They're not cheap. I mean, I'm sure that they're cheap to make, but they're not cheap to buy. And so most of Meta's most of Meta's VR products have actually lost money on the products themselves. They sell them at a loss. That's what I'm trying to say. They sell those products at a loss because they're not trying to sell you the VR. They're trying to sell you the platform. They're trying to sell you this gigantic advertising platform that now sucks you in. You know, instead of being on Facebook for 30 minutes a day or 40 minutes a day or 2 hours a day, last night I was in Poker Stars for two hours. You know, I was just right there. You can just sell to me in my vision, man. Like, you can put whatever you want within, I just bumped the microphone. You can put whatever you want in my field of vision, any advertisements, any products, and I'm going to sit there and I'm basically going to take it the same way that you take, you know, the Coca-Cola ads at the Super Bowl, because what are you going to do? Look away? You can't look away. It's in your field of vision. And so I think that they're heavily invested in that. But people discount a lot, or at least don't think about the place and the role that AI has in virtual reality, and not just like the ChatGPT world. Alex said, I'm looking to buy a Quest 3 as my Quest 2 has had a good run. Should I get display covers for the lens covers and the front cameras and depth sensor? I would. I like the Quest 3. If I was you, if I was in your position and I didn't have a bunch of headsets just laying around, I would hold my breath for like 17 days, 18 hours, 47 minutes, and 53 seconds. Because I think that if you're looking for an upgrade from the Quest 2 and you're not wanting to spend like $500 to $700 on the Quest 3, now maybe you're just like, yeah, I'm just ready to bite the bullet and get the Quest 3, and I want that experience, and I'll use that headset to its fullest. But if you're just kind of looking to upgrade from the Quest 2, you might hold out, because I'm pretty sure that they're going to do like a mid-range budget headset. We've seen lots of leaks and lots of like preliminary images have kind of come out of what they're calling the Quest 3S. Previously, we thought it was maybe going to be the Quest 3 Lite.
Yep. Really,
it's starting to look like a Quest 2 Plus, but they're marketing it as the Quest 3S, because so first of all, it looks like the lens assembly is going to be a single panel LCD, and it's going to be Fresnel lenses, so it's going to be the same sort of visual experience as the Quest 2. I've seen some reports that the PPD is higher on the potential Quest 3S, but if they're using the same LCD and the same lenses, then it should be the same. But it's going to have the Quest 3 processor, and it's going to have the higher storage, and it's going to have the more functionality more akin to the Quest 3, and potentially the depth sensors as well. When you look at the camera array on the Quest 3S like leaked images, it looks like it's going to have a depth sensor, the full color pass-through cameras, and the 4 tracking cameras like the Quest 3 has. So the hand tracking will be much improved. The pass-through will be much improved. It looks like it's going to be a better experience than the Quest 2. On that note, kind of going back to my point about the overall sales of the Quest units.
Yep.
Is the Quest 2, I was saying, sold over 20 million units just in the U.S. I think. I'm not sure what it's done worldwide. But I think just in the U.S. it's done over 20 million units. Now the Quest 3, how many units do you think the Quest 3's moved?
Maybe not even half.
Not even close.
Yeah.
Like 1 million units. Like 1 million units. In the last year, they've sold 1 million units, which makes you wonder, right? Like, why was the Quest 2? Was it a marketing thing? Was it did they get people? I mean, it begs the question: did it sell so well and take off because of COVID? Was the timing just that good? Because that was December 2020. They announced it September of 2020. I think released it December 2020. Well, it would have been November 2020. And then, because it was a Christmas thing.
It was out before COVID, but I think more people probably...
No, it was out during COVID. 'Cause COVID started in 2020. March 2020 was when work
that's
stopped.
Right. Yeah, that's
March,
right.
March, April, depending on where you were.
Well, we bought... What did we buy? It was
2019, we bought the Quest 1s.
Quest 1s,
yeah,
that's
the
right.
original Oculus Quest.
Just to see.
Yeah, because we were experimenting with those in our arcade because we were full HTC Vive at the time, and so we bought some Vive Pros and played around with those. And we bought some Valve Indexes and played around with those. And we bought some Oculuses and we played around with those. And ultimately, we ended up going with the Vive Pro 2 for the most part, except for those Knuckles controllers were just so good. But it does beg the question: is VR headed in the right direction even? Based on those sales. And when you look at like the sales of the Apple Pro, the Apple Vision Pro, how many units did that sell? I think last time I looked at that, I think Apple wanted to sell 800,000 in their first year, and I don't think that they've even done a quarter of that.
Fewer than 300,000.
Yeah.
That was back in July, it looks like. So.
Yeah, I think that their goal was 800K after launch in the first year, and they've not even broken 50% on that, which is crazy. King Breaks says, "Do you know why I can only see out of one eye?" There's a couple reasons that you can only see out of one eye. I just threw a bunch of these away. Hold, please.
I heard you chunking stuff earlier.
Yeah, I was chunking stuff.
It must have been one of those.
Sometimes there's these LCD panels, this ribbon that goes behind and then kind of comes up and plugs into the board right here. Sometimes there's a little damage to here. It's not clear to me exactly why. Just inconsistent reasons, liquid damage, sweat gets in there, water gets in there. Could be overheating, I suppose. Could just be the cables going bad, although I don't know why that would happen. But sometimes that goes bad. But then just to caveat that, in my experience, sometimes the motherboard itself is actually the root of the cause. Is that where this plugs in? Sometimes some of these pins are damaged either by liquid damage or heat issues, but mostly liquid damage related issues is what we see. And if one of these pins goes bad, then sometimes you'll lose visual in either one eye or the other. The headset's still working, and you can still kind of use it for things, but obviously it's not ideal. It takes some troubleshooting. Most of the time when that happens, I kind of have to swap a new board in there, see if that resolves the issue. And if it doesn't resolve the issue, then we'll reach out to the customer and say, hey, it's actually probably your LCD. Are you okay with us changing that out? If it's the board, sometimes we can repair those pins on that board, and then sometimes it's just too far gone. Liquid damage is really tricky. People call and leave comments and DM us about liquid damage all the time because I spilled orange juice in there, or I spilled water in there, or I sweat really heavy, and it's so case by case. Everybody's different, and where the liquid goes is always different, So it requires some evaluation. You can send it in to us, and I'd be happy to take a look at it and let you know which is which, because I know not everybody has just parts running around, so we can always help with that. And then somebody asked another question that I missed. Okay, King Breaks, and then Alex Moore, and then James Bulls. Pigabelly06 says, "What's up?" And I say, "What's up?" back. Bomba says hello. King Breaks, I put a new LCD in and it didn't work. And okay, thank you. Yeah, sorry about that, King Breaks. You can check out our website, and there's a repair request form. You can fill that out. We'll send you a shipping label. It doesn't cost anything for you to send it in and for us to evaluate it. I usually recommend that in cases like this. And then what we'll do is it'll arrive here, and we'll evaluate it and send you an estimate. And you can go, yeah, I want to fix it, or no, I don't want to fix it. Whatever. So everybody's different with how they want to do repairs. So I take a lot of pride in the fact that we've somehow very organically over the last 3 years now have found a way to accommodate, I would say, 99% of our customers.
Yeah.
Because people are so particular about their electronic devices that they've spent upwards of $400 to $700 on, or more in some cases. You know, we get the people that send in the valve indexes and the HTC Vives, and it's like, I've spent $1,200-$1,300 on this setup. You know, can you guys fix it? Can you take a look at it? Like, yeah, we can take a look at it. You got to send it in to us. You have to mail us your headset. And there's a lot of people that I think when we first got started were very skeptical, but they've lightened up over the years, and I don't know. I take a lot of pride in the fact that we've been able to work out the bugs to make people comfortable with sending things in. Anyway.
We still have people that, just reach out. They're like, hey, you guys legit? I was like, yeah, we're legit.
Yeah, every now and then.
We've worked on quite a few headsets.
I'll get a Gorilla Tag kid in TikTok probably once a week that's like, I want to send my headset into you, but my mom says you're a scam. I don't know what to tell you. I had an interaction. I clipped it out and posted it as a short on YouTube and on TikTok, I think, because it was just a funny moment. I was doing a live stream on TikTok, and there was a kid that called in. He had a problem, and then I could hear him like going down the stairs to go talk to his mom about what I had just told him. And then he hangs up on the live, and I see him call back, and I'm like, oh, well, I'll take it. And so I pick it up, and it's his mom. And like, well, we sent his PlayStation in to this, and they scammed us, and it was blah 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 blah. And I was up front with her. I told her what I tell everybody.
Yeah,
I'm here to facilitate. We're here to help. If you don't want to send things in, that's fine. I've got tutorial videos, and I've got parts on the website. I mean, I can't scam you on the parts, so the parts are there, the tutorials are there. If you want to try it yourself, or if you want to take it to some local repair shop and go, hey, here's this, and here's our parts, then you can do that too. But again, that's something that I think we've really had to stumble in the dark on, because there was no clear-cut pathway as to how to assuage the feelings and concerns of those people who have been scammed in the internet age. I was talking about something before we got going on the questions, and now I've kind of lost my train of thought on it. But I think, I don't know, what we were talking about was kind of the history of the VR.
Yeah,
and
we were kind of going down that road.
And it's interesting to me still that, well, Meta, I'll say this about the way that they've utilized their platform and taking a loss on the headsets so that they could sell and, capture the developers. How interesting is it to you, Preston, that, how interesting is it to you that Meta basically carved out their niche by purchasing developers like, I can't even remember the name of the company that made Beat Saber, but they basically got in friendly with the devs, is what happened.
Yeah.
And in a lot of ways, it feels like the Meta store, they just renamed it, by the way. I can't remember what they just renamed it to. They changed the name. Yeah, it's not Meta. It's not the Meta store anymore. It's something else. It's like the Horizon event, or the event Horizon. Haha. It's the Horizon something. The Horizon connection. The Horizon port. They're really leaning into the sci-fi stuff. But I don't know, how interesting is it to you that it seems like to me, it seems like they've cornered the market on VR by not being the hardware people, even though they do have the hardware people. They've become Steam, but for VR.
I think that's the platform that you're going to see your revenue come from. You're not like we talked before earlier. You're not going to make any money off of the headset. They took a loss on the headset. How much of loss did they take? But the idea is that we need to get a headset in everybody's hands, and then we want to make it easier for developers to create content for the headset, and then they're going to go right around and do what the Google Play Store does or the Apple Store does, and then you're paying for those applications, and then there's also even in we did poker stars. You can buy more things inside that game, and I'm sure they get a kickback for some of that stuff. So any transaction that is, they get all those microtransactions.
Yeah.
From those purchases. So that's the way I think to keep them going. At least put money back in their pockets. That's at least what I think.
I just think it's really funny to me. The people don't have a whole lot of nuance, I feel like, in the internet space when they're talking about the gaming industry and tech. It's these people are geniuses, these people are idiots. These people have done the smartest thing that's ever happened, and every single one of them deserves a Nobel Prize, and those people are idiots, and I hope that their company fails. And those are like the two things that you get, it's like everything about this company I love, everything about this company I hate, and there's not any nuance. And I think it's funny to me because I'll still, there was somebody who just commented on a video the other day. I posted something about the Quest 3S or the Quest 2 or something on TikTok, and somebody was like, well, if you worked on real virtual reality headsets, then maybe you'd make lots more money. And it was like, well, first of all, he was like, and he referenced the Valve Index, or he or she referenced the Valve Index and the HTC units. And I was like, well, we do repair those units. Thank you. But more importantly, the Quest 2 is it is the hardware king, like in so many ways. The Quest, or I should say, the Quest 3 is the hardware king in so many ways. So what exactly do you mean by like what is a real VR headset? And I think that that person just has this preconceived notion because of the Valve Index and their relationship with that. But it just speaks to that bias, is that there's no nuance in the conversation of, well, maybe Meta made the right move here.
It was a premium experience then. But that headset came out 5 years ago, right?
I mean, the Quest 2's 4 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So before that,
but the Valve Index, you mean? Yeah, it was 2019.
I mean, at the time, that was the coolest thing to get, and it was expensive. So there was a price point on it that was kind of pricey. Not everybody could afford, right? And so at that point, you have a premium experience and a premium headset, and that is your experience, and that's what you've invested into. So now the Quest 3 and any of the upcoming hardware that comes out is going to be it's going to way supersede the Valve Index at that time. So I don't know, it's not a premium headset anymore.
I'm trying to remember when the HTC Vive Pro was released in 2018. That was 6 years ago. That's a lifetime in
for
tech.
hardware. That is,
that's forever.
Yeah.
We were on 20 series cards in 2018.
Yep. Well,
like,
yeah.
If you like, I remember our VR arcade in 2018. We had 1080s, and that was like, oh, these computers just blow it out of the water. 1080s. We like, or 1080 Ti's, I think. And it's like, oh, these cards, these computers are just top of the line. And people would come into the store and be like, these are the most amazing computers I've seen in my life. And now you can put a 4080 Ti in something, and people are like, oh, I've got a better rig at home. It's like, screw you, buddy.
It is crazy how the time has just shifted and the tech has changed, because anybody that we do like computer stuff, we do computer builds and things like that too, but people ask us the lifespan of tech, and I'm usually like, it's a 2 to 4 year to 4 year window on tech itself. I mean, there's the exceptions to some product, but usually they're wanting to move to the next thing because that's what people want. And we'll buy it. We'll buy the next thing.
Yeah. And here's my other question too is, okay, so you're looking at the trend lines. You're looking at, okay, the Quest 2 sold 20 million units over the last 4 years, was launched in 2020. The Quest 3 launched last year. It sold 1 million units. The Apple Vision Pro was like, okay, top of the line. Oh, maybe it's a price point thing. Let's just write that data point off for that reason. But regardless, they wanted 800,000 units. They've sold 3. Is that good or bad for the industry? Are we stagnant and here's the thing, do the specs and the hardware really matter? Coming back around to the meta thing, and this is part of that nuanced conversation.
Yeah.
Does the hardware even matter to most people? If what people are still enjoying in the virtual world is Poker Stars, Gorilla Tag, Beat Saber. Beat Saber's still is Beat Saber still in the top VR games? Let's look. Top VR games.
Oh, I bet it
right
is.
now. I don't want the new games. I want like the top selling games on.
Super Hot's on that list.
I Am Cat, Waltz of the Wizard. Waltz of the Wizard is so old. I remember we had the beta when we first got on with our VR arcade license provider back in like 2019.
Oh.
Waltz of the Wizard was like in its very early access.
It is. It's
I
Beat
Am
Sabers.
Security.
Oh yeah.
Blade and Sorcery also has been around for 5-6 years. Blade and Sorcery's early access was 2019, something like that. Beat Saber is number 5. Bone Lab, that game's 4 years old. Now, of course, these games have been updated and they've changed a lot. Blade and Sorcery Nomad is not the same game that it was when it was in early access, and you had a stick and you were like, hitting cups off of like. I remember just trying to use the bow mechanic in early Blade and Sorcery was the most frustrating thing in the world. And now I can just go around the arena just shooting the bow like crazy. Anyway, Job Simulator looks like it's still in the top 10. Pavlov is in the top 10. Then Ghosts of Tabor. Then Tactical Assault. And Super Hot's in the top 20. Arizona Sunshine 2 looks like in the top like 25 or so. Thrill of the Fight. That game's freaking old. That's right behind Arizona Sunshine 2 and Super Hot. I mean, Arizona Sunshine 2 is new, but let's not get it twisted. Like, Arizona Sunshine has, like, it's not changed that much. It's not that much different than Arizona Sunshine 1. But does the hardware matter?
For general consumers, no, I don't think so. I think it's really for the VR super users. Or ourselves, and I don't even know that I care that much either.
I don't think I care that much.
I get excited about the talks of new hardware, but do I really need it? I don't need it.
How much is it going to change? How much is it going to change the experience? That's the question.
Well, that's it has to be the next wow factor and the next eye track. I mean, they're working on eye tracking, but what is that next step? So what would make me want to move to that headset? What would it give me that I can't already get right now? So I have this complaint with the iPhone, even though I have it. It's like I've had iPhones for, let's call it, the last 5 years. But what's really changed?
Let's call it the last 20 years.
Yeah. I mean, but what am I really getting? Additionally, I can make phone calls, I can surf the web, I can check Facebook, Instagram, and all that's kind of been doing that for a very long time. So I've not been really wowed by the product. What's wowed me a little bit actually is probably the camera aspect and the video quality and things like that. But for a functionality purpose, there's really not changed. The same with the hardware. And what we got excited about, I think, with the Quest 2, but it comes down to the software and the developers, is the hand tracking we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And that was a big change, but that's still not used a lot in some of the development aspects of the people, making games and things like that. So
well, and I think that's kind of where people really take a dump on Mark Zuckerberg for talking about the XR and AR and trying to do all this AR XR integration, because the VR nerds, the people who are playing Gorilla Tag and playing Blade and Sorcery Nomad and playing Zero Caliber, whatever, they want the next VR thing. They're the iPhone users. I want the next iPhone. I want the better camera. I want the better microphone. What are you going to bring me on the iPhone? But in order for the industry to advance, the interface has to change. like people don't understand that the reason that we started using phones differently, like the reason that we use phones differently today than we did 15 years ago, was because the interface completely changed. Once you could touch your screen and access things just directly on here, and you didn't need a button for everything, like it wasn't a this is the 3 input, and this is the off input, and this is the back input. And once the input could be anything on the screen, the interface changed. And now the software can go on all these different directions. So I think that a lot of like what we're seeing in the stagnation of the VR world is, well, the interface just hasn't changed in 6 years.
Yep. But how do you make it better from where it's at?
Well, I think that's where the XR and the AR stuff comes in, right? Is if you're, I'm not playing, I don't want to play Poker Stars or Beat Saber or Blade and Sorcery because I'm not using it as a gaming. And I think Apple tried to tap into this and just failed due to the price point, or maybe their marketing just wasn't good enough, which is crazy and stunning because I think that they probably spent as much money on the marketing as they did on the frickin' headset design. But I mean, the marketing campaign for that thing was ridiculous. Seeing people walking around with, and I remember talking to my wife about this. It's like, well, I mean, they seem really popular. I think my father said something very similar. Like, they seem really popular because I see people, on the trains and the subways and walking around with the headsets on. And I was like, no, that's all made up. That is all made up. There's no way that some college kid, some out of school, I've got the $70,000 a year job, went out and bought themselves an Apple Vision Pro, and then they're just like sitting there on the subway in New York City, hanging out in VR. That's not real. That's fake. That's marketing. But we talk about this sometimes with regards to the business, is that there's a difference between a marketing that reaches a lot of people and effective marketing. Because you can have a marketing plan that reaches a lot of people and have it not be effective at all. And I think that that's where Apple missed, is that they didn't convey exactly how they were going to change the interface. I'm hoping that that's what Mark Zuck does. What Zuck does, Mark Zuck. I'm hoping that what's MZ. I'm hoping that's what my King Lizard friend does in 17 days, 18 hours, 24 minutes, and 35 seconds. Is explain to me how the interface is going to change. Explain to me how because we're supposed to get new glasses, right? That's a big thing that's coming out. Is that we're getting rid of the Ray-Bans with the cameras and the speakers. Because I think last year you got everybody excited because, we've got these new AR glasses and it's going to, but it really ended up being like a spy camera inside of a Ray-Ban Wayfarer with some speakers in it. And, I mean, there's some additional functionality there, and I'm not going to discount that, but we have to treat that for what it is, which was a stepping stone to hopefully what is to come, which is a real, genuine, Jarvis-like interface where I can interact with the world around me in some sort of augmented way. But,
see, I'd rather do that. Sounds more exciting to me than the phone, and I get maybe it'll be an extension of your phone, but I love that concept. I think that would be such a cool concept to see my text messages come through my glasses, just like a head-up display. It's right there, and I can see it, and I can interact with it. I don't know if that's coming this year. I know they were talking about maybe next year, but I would love to see some sort of announcement maybe that we get if they're Meta Connect, but I don't know.
Well, and one of the conversations that I think you and I have had over the years with the AR, about the AR XR thing, is that you've got to find a way to interface in people's daily lives in a way. We were talking about, what was it we were talking about just yesterday, about how it's hard to sell people on a luxury item.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to give a luxury item away, going back to the idea of the Quest 2. You almost have to give a luxury item away so that way people can no longer conceive of what their life would be like without it. I think that's what the iPhone did really, really well. It's like when Steve Jobs or the iPod for that matter, or the iPad, like there were several things that Apple came out with in like a 10-year span, maybe shorter than that. Maybe it's closer to like a 6-year span. Was it 2000 that they came out with the iPod? And then iPhone was 2007.
Actually,
and then iPad was 2009, I think. Right in that window.
2001
for
just the iPod.
For the iPod. because they had the big U2 thing. That was U2's big
Yeah.
resurgence with Vertigo. That's how I always remember that. It's the weirdest like plot point.
2010 was the iPad.
2010. That sounds right. I think I was in Afghanistan the first time that I saw one, because somebody had been sent one and they were FaceTiming on the internet.
April 3rd, 2010. But that was such a leap for 10 years. Oh,
9 years. Yeah.
from the iPod. But I mean, it's 10 years, so what they've accomplished it's pretty remarkable, I guess.
But now, you almost you can't find anybody with an iPod. But you don't know somebody that doesn't FaceTime on basically a weekly basis. And if they don't FaceTime specifically, they Skype or they video call with some other. What is the really popular one now post COVID?
Post COVID for Skyping?
For the face calls.
WhatsApp?
What? No, it's the Zoom.
Oh,
Zoom. Yeah, that shows how integrated into the corporate world I am.
Microsoft
Everybody.
Teams?
Microsoft Teams. Well, my point is they changed the interface.
Yep.
Because they integrated the iPhone and then they integrated the iPad, then they had this technology that came along to support those products, and now you can't imagine your life without them. You can't imagine your life without an iPhone or an iPad. And the interface of the iPod or the MP3 player or all that stuff, that's all in the past. And so to my point about the AR XR glasses, sorry, I'm taking the long way around on this one, but you've got to give me a product that creates some sort of convenience in my life or some sort of luxury that now that I have it, I can't not do that anymore. Because the convenience of being able to like FaceTime my son before he goes to bed and I'm still late at work, or the convenience of being able to like do literally anything on an iPhone.
Yep.
I don't have to carry my laptop around with me if I don't want to. If my laptop runs out of battery, I've got my iPhone. I can send emails from that.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's this like laborious, painful experience being without the technology that you provided me because I'm so attached to the convenience of that interface. So I'm hoping that's where it goes. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I'm hoping that Mark Zuckerberg comes out on the 25th and goes, not only have we progressed in the technology, we've radically changed it in a way that you're going to buy this and you're never going to look back. Because that's how all the successful technology points are. Until something else comes along and just outdates it, you know?
Yeah.
It's like
It goes back as far as cars. Man, you didn't need a car at the time.
Right.
And now we all have a car.
Well, here's the thought experiment, and I'm sure that once we post this and people are like free to comment on it, unless there's somebody in the comments right now, but but if somebody, but but if you think about it, what really killed the MP3 player and the iPod? You'd say the iPod killed the MP3 player, but what killed the iPod?
Well, then
you have your phone.
Yeah.
And then you had music on your phone,
Yep.
but now you don't have music on your phone. Why don't you have music on your phone? Because of streaming. Streaming killed people's personal playlists. Same thing with DVD collections. Nobody's got a DVD collection anymore or a Blu-ray collection anymore. I remember I used to go over to people's houses, and like from 2001 to like 2010, I would go over to people's houses, and my buddy Brian or somebody or it's like, oh yeah, I've got this on DVD. My buddy Brian in the Marine Corps, he had like a whole like cabinet of Blu-rays. That was like his life goal, was to have Blu-ray is going to be the master of all media, and it's never going to get any better than this. And so he just had like stacks and stacks and stacks of Blu-ray Blu-rays. I don't say Blu-ray DVDs, but of Blu-rays, and now it's all outdated. Doesn't exist anymore. Streaming killed it. Netflix came around.
Well, in a sense, though, you think how we take in content now and how fast it gets shoved aside. So we take in the content and it's on to the next thing. And that content just gets kind of laid and it's dead. It'll just be there forever, but it's gone.
Yeah.
And so for me, I wonder if they've shifted it because that's the way they manipulated us maybe in the way of going into the streaming, because I pay for my streaming service, whether it's Spotify or Apple Music.
Mm-hmm.
and I'm paying my $10.99 a month. But for me, I pay the $10.99 a month. I'm getting all access to the music that I want.
Yep.
Versus, okay, I got to pay $12 for an album or a DVD or a CD, and I'm getting all the hits from that particular artist.
Well, because we grew up in that era, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you grew up in the album buying era.
But you would buy that album, and I for me, I'd like one or two songs, right? But I'd have to buy the whole thing. You can't just buy the single.
Yeah.
So, and it is what it is. They got to sell the DVD or the CD.
Here's a funny comment on that. Just is because we're old enough to remember this. Is that there was a time in our generation where sometimes you would buy multiples of the same album, because an artist would release an album and then they would come out with the bonus tracks or the radio versions of the tracks or the extended versions of the tracks. Like the one, and I only remember this because I heard somebody talking about it a couple weeks ago, is that Evanescence, when they came out with their first album, they had the it wasn't the Bring Me to Life song, it was the My Immortal song. If you listen to the original album, that My Immortal is just Amy Lee singing the piano, and it's slow the whole way through. But the radio version of it, the whole band comes in like the last minute and just fucking rocks it out. I probably shouldn't swear, but they just rock it out. I guess we don't have any advertisers to appease anyway. Marked not for kids, and so a lot of their record sales were from the fact that they had put this separate version on the radio, and then they had marketed that, and so people had to go out and buy that second album, but it was the same album.
And so they sold it.
And so they sold it. Yeah. So there was another point that I was going to make. We were talking about the technology, and I lost it just now. So I could never go on Joe Rogan because I would lose my train of thought too often.
What were we talking about?
What were we talking about again? I don't know, man. Have you ever tried ayahuasca? So what do you think about aliens? Aliens.
I will say I'm super stoked for MetaConnect. I mean, I'm excited to be there. I'm excited to check things out. I know we talked about picking up a couple new headsets if they come out, which I can't imagine not launching the Quest 3S. So we'll probably pick a couple of those up and try them out. So it's gonna be pretty cool. It's gonna
be fun. I'm looking forward to doing the teardown. I hope that we can get on the pre-order list and get a teardown, hopefully in before middle of October, because I'd like to do that as like our giveaway in October. We're due for another giveaway.
It's coming.
It is coming.
It is coming.
How long have we been doing this?
About 51 minutes.
51 minutes?
52 minutes and 8 seconds.
Okay.
9 seconds.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll call it at an hour. I think an hour is good.
We usually go for an hour, and that's kind of where we're at on Saturdays.
There was something else that I was going to ask you about. Oh, I didn't want to talk about this because I think it's fun.
Yeah.
What was your first VR experience like?
Ooh. Okay, so I don't know that I've ever talked about this because you would say it was in Bozeman, Montana, but that was not actually my first VR experience technically.
Okay.
So the first one that I can remember was when I was in Tyler, Texas, and I was my dad had taken me to Toys R Us, and they had a Virtual Boy on display.
Really?
Yeah, and I remember it was this huge thing. I say huge. I'm a little kid.
Yeah.
But it was this huge red honking device that was up, and I remember sticking my head inside of it, and it's like the red aura, and everything's red.
Mm-hmm.
You guys can go look at the videos on what that looks like, but I remember sticking my head in there and seeing the visuals of it. And I remember like there's a grid, but that is, I don't remember what game it was. I couldn't tell you what it was, but I remember that specifically. That moment in my life. I don't know why I hadn't forgotten that, but I remember that specifically. But fast forward, I don't know how many years later, I don't know how old I was, to be honest. But, and then I'm 30.
I was 28, so you would have been 29.
Okay, so 29.
When we went to Bozeman for the first time. Yeah.
We put on the HTCs.
The original
HTC ones.
HTCs.
Yeah, the original HTCs.
Can you pull that up, actually, the Virtual Boy? I kind of want to see what it looks like.
Sure, yeah.
Because I never got a chance to play one. My family was not a Nintendo family. We went straight from the Sega to the PS1. We skipped all Nintendo products. It's funny. I've talked about this with Preston a lot, but I didn't get into like a lot of the Nintendo games or series until I was like an adult.
So this is what we got. This is what that red,
Oh,
red
wow.
cube is. So
Okay.
This is what it would look like inside there. So it's like you played a Game Boy, right?
Yeah.
So effectively, instead of the green and the black
that's like a
pixels,
virtual thing. Like you could see it in 3 dimensions, or
it's not.
or was it just a big screen?
In a way, it was kind of a big screen. I think there was some aspect of it that was somewhat 3D, but it really was kind of a big screen. I would still love to get one and try it out.
I think we should get one. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So.
You know, I've never tried the Nintendo Switch VR either.
I hadn't either. Maybe we ought to try to do that. As
I think we should. That'd be a good video.
I don't know. I think it's just the cardboard thing that you.
Yeah. It's like a headset thing. You can
Yeah,
probably
an
pull that up
adapter.
too.
Yeah.
It is an adapter thing. But I know that there are some games that you can have the VR experience in. I couldn't tell you what those games are.
Gosh. Images. So there is an adapter for it.
Oh, Super Mario Odyssey, apparently. Five Nights at Freddy's, I guess. Among Us.
So it's a version of Google VR box or something, I guess.
Okay.
Maybe. You can buy the nice ones.
Labo? What is Labo?
Is it their version of it?
I don't know. Oh, Labo Toy-Con VR kit. Oh, that's what it's called.
That's
the
their
Nintendo
version of
Labo. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. Cool.
Yeah, we got to try it. I don't know what the experience is going to look like, but it'd be fun to just try it out.
I mean, yeah.
Hey, what's a door? A door?
How's it going? Adore ramen. That's like a full sentence.
It is kind of almost like a.
Man, I am terrible at spelling. That's okay.
I guess I need to look into it to see if there is going to be what games are available on the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
VR stuff. So.
I bet you could play some like basic titles. I bet you could get super hot on the Switch store.
You think so?
I bet you could. Nintendo Switch
It might be
VR
out
games.
there.
What's it say? Super Mario 3D World. Okay. Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed Ecto Edition.
Okay.
Captain Toad Treasure Trackers. Help Wanted. Sonic Frontiers. Fast and the Furious.
We're doing good, man. We're just talking about VR stuff, and we went on a whole rant earlier. You just missed about the future of VR and AR and what kind of to expect and kind of how the tech has changed. So,
you know what we should do, buddy? We should take a Quest 2 housing and a faceplate and put a Nintendo Switch on the front of it and do a Quest 2 Nintendo Switch.
Oh, yeah, we can give it a shot.
Why not?
Yeah.
We could paint it red and blue.
Yeah.
And just have a Nintendo Switch Oculus experience. That'd be fun. It'd be a fun little project.
We could probably make it work, even if the
Why
size
not?
is just a little different. We could probably Dremel it or make it like
Because
cut it out a little bit.
I'm looking at like these ones on Amazon, and those, and those just look just
Kinda
like
just like the
Quest
headset.
ones, yeah. I'm sure you need a little divider thing in the middle, little piece of black cardboard or something to go in the middle and separate that image.
Yeah.
Hell of a Switch too, yeah.
I guess we got to look at that. That's something we could play around with.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm down.
Do we have any Switches laying around?
Yeah, we've got some.
Okay.
I think we've got some. We should.
Should.
I think we've got maybe two.
I
We've
still
got at least one test switch.
Yeah. there's a handful of VR experiences that I've not had, and I feel again this kind of goes back to what I started this conversation out with. Is there's a part of me that even for as long as we've been doing this, because we've been doing the arcade thing for 5 years, and we've been repairing headsets for a little over 3 years now. And I feel like I've been in the VR space for longer than that, at least 6 years, because you go back to Bozeman when I first got introduced to the whole concept. And there's still so many VR experiences that I've just not had. Like, I've still never tried the HTC Vive Cosmos,
Oh, yeah, well, I don't think I can't remember if I have not either. Huh.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I've tried the big ones,
Yeah.
but I've still not, and for obvious reasons, I've not done the Apple Vision Pro, although I think it would probably make for good content for us to just try it out. But, good luck convincing my wife to put $3,500 on a credit card. I bet you get one used now, right? People are probably trying to get rid of those like wildfire.
What's up, Evan VR?
Evan VR. Hey, I have a problem with my controller. What's your problem, Evan? You caught us right in the nick of time. We're just getting ready to wrap up.
What's up, Lucille?
Lucille Wolves. Yeah.
Lucille?
That's a relative of mine.
Is it?
Yeah.
Lucille?
She's in the family.
Oh.
New listing, Apple Vision Pro, 256 gigs for $3,500. Somebody's selling a 512 for $2,900.
Okay, that's
This one's bidding at $2,400, $2,400, $2,000, zero bids.
I just cannot justify. I can justify maybe $1,000 to $1,200 for a headset, but man, once it hits over 2,000, I don't know that I can deal with that.
I'll bet you we get through this Christmas season and they don't sell, and I'll bet you the prices start coming down. Because Meta's going to launch a new headset. They are going to.
Yeah.
And there's just not going to be enough pie left for Apple to try to steal away anymore. So I was playing Gorilla Tag and I threw it, and the left controller on the back left broke. The Vision Pro will be a good write-off. Yeah. And you taped it. Okay. What'd you tape it with? Just tape? Just like clear tape?
Clear tape.
Like the Ring? I don't think I've got any broken ones.
Any of the broken tape or rings?
Yeah, I mean I've got some. Oh, here.
They love it when you tape it.
Everything except for that one. Yes, on the Ring. The problem with taping the Ring is that it doesn't really fix the underlying issue. If you've broken your Ring on your Quest 2, there's a good chance that the IR emitter ribbon that goes underneath is actually broken and severed, kind of like you see this one here. So even if you could tape up the outer ring and it was structurally sound, which, let's be honest, it's probably not, the IR emitter ribbon is probably still severed, and so you're going to lose tracking on that side, whichever side it is, unfortunately. You can send it in to us, and I can replace that ribbon. We have ribbons, and we do some repairs on these just to fix them and get them working again. But yeah, that's what you're dealing with. It's never going to track right unless that's repaired.
You heard it here first.
Yep, that's my 2 cents. So you can go to our website. Preston's got it pulled up.
Yep.
Just the fixmyoculus.com, repair solutions for every budget. You can go to get help on that main page there, and that'll take you to a page where if Preston clicks on it,
yep, we're going to go to get help.
Get help, and then it'll take you to this page here, and then you can fill out the shipping label request form, so you can just send it in. I personally used duct tape on my head strap, went right over the speaker, but I made a hole where the speaker worked until the Quest did make a mess though. Yes, tape's not as big of a deal on the straps. It's just a big deal on these because the cameras on the headset need to be able to detect the light that is being emitted by these diodes here. So if it can't see the light, then no tracky. But no tracky. Thing sucks. I use third-party head strap. Yeah. We really like the Kiwi straps. We've been using those for a long time.
Use those.
We're not sponsored or anything. I personally like the Kiwi Kiwi products. I've never been displeased with the Kiwi products. Even when we were using the HTC Vive stuff, we had
True.
lots of Kiwi products, and I was always really happy with them.
We use them for the. We have the little Kiwi
Pulleys.
pulleys
Yeah, the
for
ceiling
our pulley
pulleys.
system.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
we tried using the other pulleys that come with the HTCs, and they sucked. They were garbage. They'd go bad. They get overextended, and they just stay like that. I'm only 9 years old, and I got my Oculus for Christmas, and my parents my parents doesn't trust strangers. Well, that's okay. I mean, I'm sure that, you know, I'll tell you this. If you want, you can pull up my video on ring repair, and you can take a look at that. And if you feel like that's something that you want to get into, then you can still reach out to us, and maybe we could give you the component that you need. But we would need some photos to confirm which component you actually need, and you know, obviously you would have to really want to endure that repair by yourself. And if you're not familiar with electronics repairs, which I'm sure that you're not based on your age, then it's probably going to be a pretty difficult repair. So you need some rings in your trunk in order to do one of those repairs. 9 rings is not enough.
Yeah. One ring to rule them all.
That's right. You need like 20-ish rings to level up into controller repair.
Yeah.
I haven't even told my mom yet, so
It's going to be a conversation.
and it's gonna be a conversation, you know. But that's what personal growth is all about: learning the value of honesty, and you know that sometimes we make mistakes, and those mistakes, even if they're honest, have consequences.
Here's the deal. It's already broken.
Yeah,
What do you got to lose to send it in? It's free.
it's true.
I mean, you got to buy another one anyways.
That's
you can
true.
Just send it in. So I just, just a point.
But anyway, guys, we got 17 days, 18 hours, 0 minutes, and 30 seconds to MetaConnect. Preston, there's anything you wanted else you want to talk about?
No, we're gonna probably get back on next Saturday, the 21st.
Yep.
September 21st. Actually, yes. No, I think we might be gone.
We do have a show in Eureka. We'd have to come in and do it in the morning.
Yeah, we may be here in the morning, or we can do it Friday night. I'd like
That'd
to
be
try
fun.
To,
Let's
yeah.
do a Friday night show next week.
So we could try to. I'd like to put a schedule out for people to, because when we go live, it's kind of random. Sometimes we don't have a specific date.
Yeah.
So it might be easier to let people know when we're going to go live. Plus, I'm going to get another microphone because this one sounds like garbage.
Yeah, we should just order that.
Yeah. So.
Cool.
Oh, can I talk to you another minute?
Accidents. Yeah.
What's up, Evan?
Hit me, Evan.
Hit me.
You got the last word.
Make it good.
I like
we're
how
all in
he puts
suspense.
the accidents in quotes, like maybe it wasn't an accident.
Accident.
Maybe it wasn't.
What is that skit where it's like, why are you doing that? Why are you putting in quotations?
I don't know.
There's an SNL skit where it's like, why are you using quotation? Or is it Key and Peele?
Maybe it's Key and Peele.
I'll have to pull it up or something. Anyways. Oh man, the suspense is killing me. It must be a
I always just think about Dr. Evil. The laser beam. Sharks with freaking lasers.
Quotations. Well, I guess we'll give it another minute or so.
Evan, the clock's ticking.
Yeah. Precious time.
45 seconds.
Evan's got more time on Earth than I do, so.
You don't know that for sure.
Well. nothing bad for that.
Not if his mom has anything to say about
yeah,
it.
he might be in big trouble. Don't kill me, Mom. All right, here we go.
Throwing my controller at the wall the same like 30 times. I would invest in wrist straps. Could I just buy one left controller separate? You can probably for a limited time. I'll tell you this, Meta is phasing out all of the Quest 2 stuff on their website. They're already out of stock on the headsets, the kits, and the right controllers. They may have left controllers on their websites, still, but maybe not. We do not sell full controllers. We're primarily a repair business, and we allocate all of our parts and components toward that mission. Because our primary mission is assisting people with, the conservation of their existing VR units, not really the resale of VR units. So we're not a good resource for that. But again, if you wanted to repair it, we're here. And there's a chance that if you act very quickly, you could probably get in on the last few left controllers that Meta has on their website. I can almost assure you that by the 25th, those will be gone because Meta is planning to sell out and or liquidate all their Quest 2 stuff so that they can push their new headset, whatever that headset is, from the 25th of September through the 25th of December for the Christmas season. So your window is short if you're looking to buy a new one.
And there you have it.
And that's it. That's all I got to say about that. Evan, if you do have any other questions, you can always reach out to us on the website. Feel free to send us an email. I appreciate this. This was a good talk.
Yeah.
This is kind of a different style for us. Most of the time we usually kind of do the repair thing and we take questions, but I thought today let's just sit down and talk about VR and kind of see where the conversation goes.
I'd like to incorporate other platforms. Maybe we can find a way to do that.
Yeah.
I think we've got a lot of traction with TikTok, that you go TikTok live, but finding a way that to be combining, because I think we get a lot more traction that way.
Yeah.
So anyways, we can talk more off stream.
Yeah.
So.
Cool. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.